This is Christian Voices from the Middle East, a podcast ministry of the Order of St. George the Great Martyr. I'm your host, Maxwell Marcus. Today we have a very wonderful guest, Archpriest, Economist, Father Constantine Nasr. Father Constantine is a pioneer in American Orthodoxy in terms of missions and evangelism, who has helped establish the Mission of Holy Ascension in Norman, Oklahoma, and the Mission of St. James in Stillwater, Oklahoma. He's also a founding member of the Jerusalem task force that seeks to restore indigenous leadership to the Patriarchate of Jerusalem. Father Constantine has published 5 books on Orthodox Christianity and is a member of the Order of St. George the Great Martyr. Thank you for being here, Father Constantine.
Thank you for inviting me to be on your podcast, and hopefully we'll have a wonderful time with each other. And
Yes,
for
sir.
the listeners, God bless them all.
God bless them all. Absolutely. So, Father, I usually like to start the podcast very simply. Can you tell me a little bit about where you're from?
Okay. I am from Palestine. I'm a Palestinian, a priest, come from generation of priesthood, born in Jerusalem, lived on the West Bank in a town, on a village called Ephraim in the Bible in John 11:54. This village is a Christian village, totally Christian village today, actually the only Christian village. It is recorded in the book of John when Jesus raised Lazarus from the dead. The Sanhedrin and the council wanted to arrest the Lord Jesus, and so he took his disciple and he withdrew to the Judean hills. So the Judean hills is the further part of the Judean hills, the village called Taybeh, and it is about 15 minutes from Jericho in a car, an hour walk or less, downhill, and the climate between Jericho and Ephraim is like being Florida and Alaska. The climate changes. So Jesus was familiar with the village because when he used to go to Jericho on the way to Nazareth, going through the Jordan Valley, or to Sabbasia through our village, he is recognized the fact that the location of the village and the climate of the village allow many people to go down to Jericho, or in the summer to leave Jericho to go north. And so Jesus was familiar with the Essenes community. These are the ascetic Jews. And so he withdrew to this village. And when St. Helen in the 336 AD made that journey to visit the Holy Land, the holy places, whether in Bethlehem or Nazareth or Jerusalem or Taybeh or other places, with the help of her son Constantine, the decision was made to honor the Lord where he went to build churches. And so traditions say that she came to Taybeh, to this village, Ephraim, and became that area where the Essenes used to be gathered on the top of the hill of Jazin Hill. There was a church, small monastery, and during the Justinian period, this monastery became the mother of all monasteries. And as people converted to Christianity in the village, in Ephraim, small community was established, and in honor of Saint Constantine and Helen, it is that church dedicated. The original church for the community, Saint Constantine and Helen, for this monastery is Saint George. That is the second church built in honor of Saint George. The first one where he is entombed, his body in Lid in Israel today, in original Palestine, Israel today. But the second church built after St. George is in Ephraim, in Taybeh. And from the hill, you can see Jerusalem. You can see the Mediterranean. You can see the Sea of Jericho. You can see Jordan, Syria. And the village is built on 3 hills. In fact, I'm going next week to Detroit to make a presentation to a Taybeh reunion. Our people who are in America and Canada will be gathered in order to help this village that has been under extreme terrorizing spirit, if you call it, darkness of the people that live there, in the settlement. And so this village, the name Ephraim was changed to Taybeh, pleasant, in 1178, when Salah ad-Din, the Muslim conqueror, taking the Holy Land from the Crusaders, visited the village, and he was welcomed with great hospitality, to a point that he was very impressed by the people. And he asked, what is the name of this village? And in Arabic, Ofra, Ephraim, is like a windstorm, like you're in Phoenix, Arizona. So he says, no. It's you are pleasant people. From now on, we'll rename the town, the village, to Taybeh. Taybeh, Taybeh. So I grew in that village. Our family came from Haran, Syria, in 1568, and we have the family tree from generations. And so half of the villages are from our tribe, the Duke family. And of course, all the villages were Christian Orthodox up till 1840, when the Latin Patriarchate entered into Jerusalem and began her missionary work. So from 1860, we have a mission in the village with the Latin Church. And then in the early 1945-46, we have also the Melkite, who are Byzantine Rite, in the village. So you end up having, when I came to this country in 1961, the village was, I would say, 70%, if not more, Orthodox Christians. The rest were Latins or few families Melkite. But you go today, you end up see the Latin Church and the Melkite Church. We are become the minority in the village. But it doesn't matter. That still is a Christian village, and I grew up in that village. The whole family, my presence in the United States, due to my father. My father was a priest and was a principal of the school. In 1948 war, many Palestinians were pushed out from inner side of Palestine, Jaffa, Akka, and other places. Many have Ascalon, and many have come and settled in the village. Like 128 families lived in the village. And my dad need to have help to feed the people in the village. So he established a clinic, get some help from the United Nations, from UNESCO, clothes distribution. As a child, I remember seeing all these things. And that's really influenced me, because I see what was taking place in the village. And the schools were the boys in one part of the village in a house, and the girls one part of the village in a house. But my dad wanted to put them all together. And that time, the Patriarchate blessed him to raise funding to establish a school, boys and girls. Then he came in 1955 to America, to raise funds for the expansion of the school. And now that school has grown, and I've been supportive of the school. I have foundation for the school. It's become now a high school. It's called secondary school, Orthodox secondary school, which is a high school, has about 500, maybe 40 some students, maybe close to 100 Christians. The rest are from the villages surrounding. The same thing in the Latin church. They have about maybe 400 or 500, maybe 150 Latin students. But we have 2 schools in the village. I grew up in that village. And when my father came to America, the school closed. So I went to a Muslim school in the next village. And the coexistence in those days, and still is a wonderful coexistence. Just like I used to hear about the coexistence of Christian, Muslims, and Jews in the past. I mean, my grandfather would tell us a story about Einstein and Ibrahim Muhammad, young people your age, having coffee near the Lutheran Church of Jerusalem when this bomb took place, and that was bombing King David Hotel. You know, that's in the 30s, in 46, something like that. So I grew up in this atmosphere, and we went to church like everybody else. I mean, our life was the church. And when I came to America, I joined my dad as a priest now in Omaha, Nebraska. And then he moved, priest like a soldier. You go. So he went to Omaha, from Iron Mountain, Michigan, to Omaha, Nebraska, to Albany, New York, to Danbury, Connecticut, to Beckley, West Virginia, finally to Hollywood, Florida, Fort Lauderdale. But I went to Albany, graduated from Albany High School, and I went to college at Iona College, Jesuit College, while I was living at St. Vladimir's. I lived at St. Vladimir's for 7 years. And by the grace of God, I got married to my wife from the convention, dancing. I said, this is the girl I want. And God blessed us with that. And we have 2 boys, Constantine and Philip, and they are married and have 4 children. And I served in Cedar Rapids, Iowa for 9 years as a priest. And God called me to come over here to Oklahoma City at St. Elijah. I've been there from 82 to 2011. And then I retired as emeritus priest. I travel, lecture, write. I need to update this biography of mine because we established the mission in Kansas City and Denver, Colorado, in Weatherford, Oklahoma. We have so many young men join the priesthood. I could not have done that without, first and foremost, God's intervention in this, but the faithful people who believe. It is the people who offer their time and talent. What talent do I have? The people have the talent, and they share their talents in giving, rewarding, giving, thanking God for their blessings. And we have built this complex. I hope someday you come and visit St. Elijah.
God willing.
It's we have a very nice facilities, and I try to bring the old country spirit into mid-America by having these beautiful mural writings in the hallway and many other places. But that's something about me. And so, I came from Palestine. I'm a Palestinian by birth, born in Jerusalem. I have 160 some members of my family in Jerusalem metropolitan area. I have a cousin who I brought to this country to be a priest, studied at the Holy Cross. I brought seminarians from the whole country to study in America and went back. So we try to help because our people in the whole country are under severe occupation, persecution, expulsion, burning, killing, intimidating, isolating in a big prison. And, as I say, people lived in peace and harmony, Christian, Muslims, and Jews. And why can't we live again like that, So after 48, you have the division of Palestine, of which the Palestinians lost, a two-thirds of Palestine went to the state of Israel. But the expansion, you're talking 48 wars, 67 war, Intifada, and through the years after 2023, the war of October 7. I don't know. Since I retired, I've been taking tourism to the Holy Land, to Israel and Palestine. It was a great time, wonderful to see the holy places. We did not see much challenges. They were at the airport, there were questions and so forth and so on, but they were accommodating. But with Netanyahu government, this extremism really have damaged the soul of the people. People are living, they are terrorized. They live in fear. Settlers come in holding guns in front of the soldiers, and they intimidate, they will shoot, they will burn cars, they will make graffitis on the walls. Christians being pushed, intimidated, hit in Jerusalem. Just maybe you have seen the French nun in Jerusalem. Even in Lebanon, Christian churches being destroyed inside, stepping. I just, we say the church is perfect, but has the human face. God is perfect, but we have our faces. But when that face is covered with darkness, what you're going to see darkness. That's what happened. In that part of the world, a Jewish mother will cry like a Palestinian, Lebanese mother, Syrian mother, Egyptian mother, Spanish mother. I don't think God intended for us to be like that. And when I see a historical church in our community being burned, desecrated, people wanted to go to work, there's no job for them. They have to leave the town, they have to go to a checkpoint. And these are young people, 15 years old, with guns or sticks, burning trees, not allowing people to go to collect their orchard, their olives, their fruits. What do you say? What do you say? I go to lectures at churches and universities, colleges. I say, where is the American spirit? The spirit of Abraham Lincoln, George Washington, Adam, Jefferson, Carter, even we say Clinton. Okay? Where's justice? Obama tried, But the idea is that we are no longer living according to the spirit of America. There is a book written by late Senator David Boren. He used to be the senator in the United States Senate in foreign relations for many years, well-respected man, became the president of OU. He wrote a book, a small book called Letter to America. I read it quite a few times. And I said, you have the Bible in one hand, you need to have this book, this letter on the other hand. in very precise way. David Boren speaks the truth and say we are under amnesia. We need to wake up, America. And he explains a small book. I have it. You see. I got this one.
Oh, yes.
Find out, buy it, and read it. There is lots of wealth in this small pamphlet, small letter, and so we are under control in America, and unfortunately, but I see through social media a spirit of reawakening, where people are beginning to find the truth about what's happening. There are Jewish people who are standing for justice. Jewish people who are also called the Natura Carta. Maybe you have heard about that. They are in New York, walking the streets, protesting against what's happening in this extreme government. People have lived in peace. Why can't we live in peace? There's enough land for two people. You know? And so for me, for example, I have lost in 67 war 28 acres of land, and there are settlements on them. But this war, also 48 acres of land. And I can show you the pictures from the satellite. I can't go over there. I will be killed. I'm only one of thousands and thousands. This is happening all throughout the West Bank. And so it is a tragedy. You know, a couple months, 3 months, 4 months ago or less, because of this trouble, settlers on this village, which is historical, well-known village in history and in the world today, Cardinal Pierre Batista of the Latin Church, Patriarch Theophilus of the Greek Orthodox Church of Jerusalem, and Archbishop Bossam Naum of the Anglican Church, and many other delegations from other parts of the Western Europe came to Taybeh to give solidarity, to pray, to observe, to see. But every day it's happening. And there's lots of suffering. The priest, they will be walking the street of Jerusalem and somebody will spit upon them or curse them or push them. There's no humanity, no feeling, you know.
Apathy.
There's yes, and so I'm sad. My property, I lost my property. Okay, what can I do? But at least to have a two-state solution would be wonderful. Get these people out of the settlement, bring Palestinians that are scattered here and there, let them live in these settlements, and everybody have to sacrifice. We have to sacrifice, and so as a priest, been going back to my home town every year, taking tours to Israel and to Palestine. I am rejuvenated, and there's a lots of good Jewish people in this world and over there, as well as lots of good Arabic people. But you know what it is that when you are stripped naked for no reason. We live in America. America belongs to the Indians. We kick them out. We put them in camps, somewhere here and there, and we give them money to survive. Well, Let's give all this land back to America, to the Indians. Why not? See, God spoke to Moses about this land and Abraham, but there is a condition to have this blessed land. Obey the commandments. Just obey the 10 commandments and you will be blessed. But the 10 commandments are not being commanded. Whether the priests in Jerusalem or Jacob's well that was murdered and almost killed the father Justinian, it is really a tragedy, and the truth has not been exposed yet. But I believe the more people know, the more people hear about and read about, I hope they will pick up the phone and express their views to their senators and congressmen to seek justice and peace, because this country is the model of peace, justice, liberty, and equality for all humanity, not for one person alone. And when we speak about God, God doesn't hate us. God loves us, loves all people. So I hope that I have contributed something little to your questions, but I'm proud to be Palestinian. It was not my choice. I was born there. It's my dad and mom gave me birth. Here I am. But my dad brought me for better opportunities. So now it is my choice if I stay here or to leave. But I'm blessed to be in America. I'm grateful to be in America. I learned, and Marcus is, as a student in high school, student in college at Iona College, at St. Vladimir's, and through the years of my ministry in 2 parishes, invited to speak here and there and meeting people, you can't find better than the American person is a genuine person. Just tell him or tell her the truth. They will make the right decision. That's at least my experience with dealing with people. Just telling them the fact, don't lie. And they will tell you right from wrong. That is the spirit of America. But when that spirit is suppressed by foreign power, foreign identity, who claim to be American, but they are not American first. That's why Kirk, was killed.
Yeah.
I never heard of the man till I heard it on the news, and I began to search. The more I read about him, the more I watched YouTube on him, the more I fall in love with the spirit of this guy. He was on one side, but he began to move to this side.
Yes.
I told my wife, I never heard of Tucker Carlson. He's on media, but I'm a face, but I don't. But what I see, a change. And I said to my family just a couple of weeks ago, I said, he's speaking the truth. He's exposing the truth. I hope they will not kill him. So when you stand for the truth, you are expected to be spit upon, pierced, kicked.
Absolutely.
That is the consequence, and that is the determination of the Spirit to say the truth. Jesus spoke the truth. The apostles spoke the truth. Many people expressed the truth and have been pierced and killed and burned and put to the stake.
Mm-hmm.
But you minding your own business, walking in the street, harvesting your land, tilling your land, somebody come from America or from Africa or from South America to say, this is my land. These are not Semitic Jews. These are Zionists. it's very important to remember that not every German is a Nazi. And not every Jew is a Zionist. And so I am in touch with my family, relatives everywhere in the Holy Land. And it is sad, the conversation that takes place. Just people want to mind their own business and live. What can they? What can they? So it's really a problem, it's a really problem. But maybe I can ask other questions. I don't know if I answered any of your questions.
You answered beautifully, more than I could have asked for. You expressed that there was a time period in your life where you've seen and experienced peace amongst the three Abrahamic religions in the Holy Land, between Muslims.
Yeah, Marcus, still there are people inside Israel, in Jerusalem and other places, get along fine.
So why has the persecution grown? You mentioned that it seems to be primarily because of Netanyahu's government and the people associated with it. Why do they want this persecution? What would be their goals in this growing persecution?
The idea is to claim this land from the Nile to the Euphrates. This is the dream and the vision of the Zionist movement.
There are some people who have an understanding of the Zionist movement where they think that it's a Jewish people's right to a home and a land. What's the difference between that perspective and the perspective of the Zionist movement being a colonial settler movement? And what is the truth in that regard?
Well, the initiation of the creation of the Zionist movement is because Jews throughout the world have been persecuted, and that's unjust. Whether under the Spanish period, the French period, the Italian period, the British period, the Russian period, Jews were persecuted way, way back. Because of this persecution and because of what's happening in the Dreyfus affair in France, the mind of Jewish leaders in the world gathered with Herzl and others for a conference to find a homeland for Jewish people. And they were recommending in Uganda, in America, in Argentina, in Cyprus, in Madagascar, and in Russia, in certain places. But finally, they came to the agreement, do it back to the Holy Land by the influence of British minister and other leaders. And so slowly they developed their own organization to raise funds, create their own armies, militias. And you end up, when early 1900, you have less than 5,000 Jews in Palestine. You have about 25-30% Christians, the rest are Muslims. But slowly, land were bought, land were confiscated, terrorized, and by the time of the World War I, you have the Sykes-Picot Accord, the guilt of the West, and the promising of the West, if the people will fight, will support them to initiate state. And so you end up having the creation of the state of Israel on the expense of the Palestinian people by the guilt of the West, and they put this nation there in order to control the East and the West, from economy to political influence.
A creation of a satellite state.
Yes. And that's what happened. And through the people who have the power, the United Nations just started, and they recognized, if you read the biography of Truman, he would say, if you have to live again, he will not do that. who will not recognize the state of Israel. You're
Mm.
talking about Kennedy's. Why didn't they open the information on Kennedy's assassination? You know why? Because he want to stop them from the nuclear weapons they have.
Yes, they were developing nuclear weapons.
Okay, you have this APAC controlling the media, control the financial market, controlling decisions in the White House. But I really think things have changed. Zionism is an expansion on the expense of the Palestinian people and other people, from the Nile to the Euphrates.
So it's no longer a defensive movement.
No. Look. If you want to have safety, you have to create a peaceful atmosphere. This constant war, no one is winning.
It's
the
kind of like
Palestinian or the Arabic people have identity to the land, like the Indian have identity to the land. We came from Europe and conquered this land. Okay? But to say the Indians don't have the right to have their land, they do have the right. But coming to my house here in Oklahoma City and take my house where I live and say, this is my property, I say no. I have worked, I sweated to pay for this house. This is my house.
Yeah.
It's just like you. So if somebody comes and says, this is my land, what are you going to do? Over there is the strong is the one who speaks. Now, the various factions. Let me say this from the Bible. Read the Bible, Old Testament. Every time there is peaceful coexistence among the Jewish people who, by the voices of the prophets, sooner they rebel against God and they despair. They don't know how to live in peace. If there is a peace in Israel today, they will eat each other up. Because they don't come from an ethos of Judaism. You have people who embrace Judaism. They are not Jews. You have the Semite Jews, yes. I am a Semite. My grandfather, just told you, was having a good time. You know, I went to college and my teacher was a Jewish teacher from New York. Friends in Omaha, Nebraska, Jews from New York. I mean, from Omaha. Has nothing to do with Judaism. Had to do with personal expansionism on the expense of the Palestinian or the Arabic people. And I believe that is very dangerous. I think that's why Rabin got killed, assassinated. They made the Oslo Accord, but Palestine being chopped. I mean, now that I have this land, it's confiscated. How could I get it back? Who's going to give it to me?
Yeah.
They say you don't feel the pain except yourself. You know, if you want to scratch your back, I can't know where you want your back to be scratched. But you point to it, you could find and you scratch. What happened is that to form Netanyahu government, you have these various extremist factions in control. And they were promised, if you ally myself with this and this, we can make a difference. And that's what happened. You have extreme leaders who are unjust and blind to the truth. And people fight because their freedom. They fight because their land is taken away. I am against killing, against bombing, against all what we see and hear on, you know, I believe in a peaceful coexistence, peaceful solution. And there are wise people, who can work toward this, but we need leadership in America to set up the model to say, this is the way, this is the truth, this is the life if you want to live.
You mentioned that we have a responsibility here in the West to call upon the spirit of America, which is the land of the free and the home of the brave, right? Freedom and bravery are two things that we're built upon. And the solution that you recommended for citizens here in the West is to reach out to their senators and their congressmen. But when so many senators and congressmen are taking funding from Israeli organizations or Zionist organizations or AIPAC, and if they speak out, they will lose their funding or their seat in Senate or Congress. What's the alternate solution for us as citizens here in the West in order to speak out in bravery and to advocate for freedom in the Holy Land?
I believe that each one of us have the right to express himself through the privilege of voting. If we know that this senator expresses his position and his view is one way, we change, we vote for somebody else. The ballot is there. It's just, I believe, we need reawakening from the pulpit. I don't like to speak state and church, but there's moral ethics that you have to speak about. Our bombs initiated in America, our airplanes are killing the innocent people. Our weapons, it wasn't for America, Israel will not even exist a day. Billions of dollars every year coming from America, taxpayers, yours and mine and everybody else, to keep the state alive. For what? When you have so many people are starving on the street of America, when there's so much homeless, when there's so much need, when they're threatening the pensions, the health. America is supposed to be, we're talking about democracy, a freedom, a gift of life. But where is all this? You know what it is? We become very selfish. The leadership, look, there are 4 models that we know about. 4 institutions. That is the church. That is the government. That is the education. And that is the politics. I mean, I did education, religion. Oh, the 4th one is the family. These are 4 institutions. So look at the government. Where are the models of today? Where are those who fought the good fight to preserve America in decency, equality, injustice, where everybody wants to be an American, everyone to be part of this wonderful land? I'm blessed to be in it. Don't take me wrong. My life has been overwhelmed, blessed with, and so many come to this great nation. So, where is the government today? Where America first? No, America is not first. It's there in Israel first. But we need to wake up America. Wake up America. That's exactly what Boren's saying. Read it.
Absolutely.
Look at the family. Today, 3 out of 4 marriages end up in divorce. Her children, his children, their children, our children. We are transient society. So the families become dysfunctional. How many people in your life, at 25 years old, people from your age or younger, broken families?
Many.
They are lost. They cannot know where they came from. On the streets and going here to survive. A second institution. So you have the government, the family. Look at the church. We believe in one holy Catholic Apostolic Church. And what happened with the one holy Catholic Apostolic Church? Yes, it was divided on theological, political, cultural issues through the centuries. But up till 1950, you were able to identify the major branches of Christianity. Today, you have over 30-some thousand Christians, denominations. And in the group of people that I meet with, sometimes I says, okay, I take a paper like that. I said, what do you see this? What do you see, Marcos?
The cross.
You see image of the cross. The word became flesh and dwelt among us. And so now Marcus will say, I like this from the Bible. I don't like this from the Bible. I like this from the Bible. I like this. I don't like this. I don't like this. Now you tell me, what is this anymore? Then Marcus will say, I have St. Marcus Orthodox, my San Marcus Church, Assembly of God, whatever. And you're inviting me to your assembly church. And you say, I have the church. I said, yes, you do. You have part of it, not the whole of it. So now, to be the one holy Catholic Apostolic Church, we need to make this puzzle back again together. That's what we lost in the church. And that's why you have so many divisions within the body of Christ. Christ did not intend for us. So you end up having the church. What left? The education? Education system is way comparison to the world. Children don't know even how to multiply, because now you have the computer, you have the iPad, you have calculators. So it is a problem. We need to, we have the abilities. We are blessed with the science and technology. We have things in our hands, and people need to stand up to speak the truth, to visit their congressman, their senator, to speak about the issues that are locally, not let alone internationally. I think we have a duty.
Yes.
We have a duty as Americans to stand for America first.
Yeah.
And that's why I am here. I love America. I don't think, I go back to the overseas and I visit my home. We have a chapel of the Cross of Many Nations there. See my family and relatives. I can't wait to go over there to be immersed and to smell the air of Taybeh, the village that I grew up in. Still, we help the school. We help poor families through the foundation. And in the old country, you have the Caritas, the Latin branch of charity, helping. Yeah, there are kind people in this world who are trying to help, but our village is bleeding. It's bleeding. And people are trying to find a way to get out. There is you can Google him. You can interview him even. Believe me, I can give you his number. This is Michael Pallet, the general's son. His grandfather was the signature on the State of Israel. He has written, experienced where he was a Zionist, and he realized where he is today. He's speaking in this country and in the world about the injustice done to the Palestinian people. His father was a general who was marched for the peace movement. It's a wonderful book to have. We were invited at a convention in Houston a couple of years back, and I had the pleasure and honor to introduce him to the conventioneers. But he tells you who he was, where he was, where he is. People change for better, not for worse. But what happened in the whole country, we're getting for worse. And we want to control the world, from Iran to Afghanistan to Brazil. You know, so this is a wonderful book, and I will give you his number to interview him, because he speaks exactly. He will tell you this because he lived it.
I would like that very much.
And you could order this book and read it before you get. His niece got killed, and it's amazing about what's happening to this man's life. So you don't have to be a Palestinian to defend Palestinian. If you are honorable man, honorable woman, speak the truth, and nothing wrong to change for the better. Of course, we want to be changed for the better. Move from darkness to light. He was enlightened.
If we have morals, we are called to defend and protect the innocent, no matter where they come from or who they are.
Absolutely, we are God's children.
Every
That's
one of
because I'm a Palestinian, you are Hispanic, or you are a Chinese. We're all God's children. If you believe in God, in Christ, we believe that we are created after the image to become like Christ. So if we have that image, we are brought to honor our parents, honor God, honor the law, follow the law, just follow the law.
Mm-hmm.
We are not lawless people, but you look, we become lawless people.
Yeah.
So you're right. We have the opportunity to change, and we are called to change from better to better, climbing the ladder. And it required dedication, consistency, devotion, humility. I mean, just 2023, I was with a group in the Holy Land, and we were eating in a Jewish restaurant in Jerusalem. We had fun and listening to the music. It's just like nothing. But my God, after that, the war started. I was there. So we don't want. I dream for peace, and I pray God will inspire men, women in that part of the world and in our country to move toward peace and justice for all people. There is land for two people to coexist. Just let them live. Let them live. We're not asking for anything. Just, it's my property. Let me live on my property. So you have millions of Palestinians who lost everything. Gaza is total darkness. The bombs, and that's distinguished between Muslim, Christian, or a Jew. It fall. And I am sad to say to you that the news is not very good in the whole country. I believe if there's a way for the Jewish leaders from Ben Gurion to other ones, Rabin, to see what's happening today, because the thing is, what's going on is endangers the total existence of the country itself.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And these are blind. These blind leaders are taking taking Israel and its people to hell and damnation and darkness. I don't think this should continue. I think they should really realize the fact that life is too short. Let's coexist. So thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to say a few words. But
thank you for speaking on this. Not enough people are, and it's something that everyone should be discussing, because the more we talk about it, the more we can shed light on it. If it remains in darkness, nothing can be changed. Just this week, a few days ago, in this month of June, fires were set in Taybeh, along the mountains.
Right. Yeah, I have the videos and among the mountains and graffitis on the walls of some of the homes in front of the Israeli soldiers. So I don't know. I think I understood that Cardinal Batista with delegation are in France, exposing what's happening to the Christian community and to the Palestinian at large, and I hope that something will take place for better, not for worse, I hope.
Yeah.
So,
God willing.
I would be very happy to visit with you again sometime. So,
yeah,
yeah,
I hope some good news. We receive some good news very soon.
I hope so.
I pray that that's the case.
How do you follow your channel?
So you can access this podcast and the prior podcasts on YouTube, titled Christian Voices from the Middle East. In regards to the Order of St. George the Great Martyr, you are a member, and thank you for coming on this podcast. I would love to know your thoughts on the Order of St. George and the work that it does, and what type of benefit that provides to the community in the Middle East and to Christians across the world. What's the role that the Order of St. George has to play? And
I think the more people know about the ministry of the order, which is to create spiritual connection, spiritual renaissance to the Christians who are minority in the Middle East, whether in Syria and Lebanon and Iraq and Egypt and Palestine and Israel. For these Christians, they need to know that somebody else cares for them. They are in need of maybe sponsorship, of supporting act of charity, whether in terms of educating a young man to the priesthood or a young person to finish his education. I mean, it's not just only exposing the conditions, but also appealing to faithful men and women who God have gave them talents to share their gift to help these unfortunate people who are in need constantly of help. So there are organizations set on the ground through your charity, but also in the old country through the Patriarchate of Antioch or through the Patriarchate of Jerusalem, where charitable organizations are set in motion, and there is an accountability in that. So the more people become to know about the spiritual and physical need of the Christians who are isolated, humiliated, persecuted, need to be fed, not with bones and words, with really milk, with really food. And so I know that Constantine is really his heart in the right place, and the leadership are in the right place, trying to help, on one hand, to expose the suffering Christians that part of the world, as well the needs of those Christians in that part of the world, and they can intermeet together through your charity and those who are on the ground, the churches on the ground, the organization on the ground in these patriarchates. So it is up to I pray for the listeners to his heart or her heart to open up. Marcus, you have to. When we were working at St. Elijah and went to build a new church, it's not easy, deal with, thousands of people. You have to, I always tell them, number one, have faith. But having faith, explaining your mission, you have to convert the mind. If you convert the mind, you're going to convert the heart, then you're going to convert your pocketbook. So the mind needs to be convinced that this organization is an honorable, accountable, charitable organization helping the poor and the needy in that part of the world. From the examples that you people do, others see, others hear, in the hope sits in the mind, the heart would tick, say, I think I need to do something. So do something, you're going to put your hand in the pocketbook. So mind, heart, and soul. I will be all right.
You mentioned Constantine and his work. He, for our audience who's unaware, Constantine Pandolfi is the Grand Knight of the Holy Orthodox Order of St. George, and he started this organization, this ministry, to bring a chivalric order to the Orthodox Church, which is something that we haven't had or experienced in a very long time, if ever. What would you say about the spirit of chivalry and what it means for Christians and for those who care, those who just have empathy and seek awareness and want to live virtuous lives, whether they're Christian or not? Does chivalry, many people joke that chivalry is dead. Does chivalry have a role in our modern day world? And beyond simply the Holy Orthodox Order of St. George the Great Martyr, how? You
are not entering this order just because you would be part of the order of have a cross to show.
Mm.
I am member of this order, You have to translate this order into actions.
Absolutely.
And if you translate that into action, there's a great joy in giving. There's a great joy in rewarding. And I see people, join the order of St. Ignatius of Antioch or this organization. It's honorable to be part of that. It's okay to be recognized. When the church in Jerusalem was in need, the apostles went to collect money and mentioned they collected money to the people of Jerusalem. They are not being very proud about the whole thing in sense of, showing off. No, they're showing humility and obedience. So in that spirit, I believe, I believe in that spirit, we join this organization, we represent these organizations, and we act upon the principle of the organization. And having done these acts of charity, having shown examples that your gift of love is reaching a soul, that should be a rejoicing, rewarding.
That's the biggest reward in and of itself. It makes me think of, you mentioned early on in your life watching your father, who was a priest, and the actions that you brought up were not necessarily his spiritual stewardship, which is what most people associate with priesthood, but more so his service to the community, feeding the community, clothing the community, bringing communities together. Did that shape your idea of service and virtue and even priesthood from an early age?
I would say yes. I never wanted to be a priest.
Really?
Okay, but it would be another story, another podcast on that one. But I saw as a child, train up a child in the way you should walk. When you grow up, you will not depart. So I saw my dad activity. A truck loads of clothes or goods were unloaded in front of our house, placed in the storage, and people will come volunteer to distribute the goods or the clothing. I saw people in line, or distribution of milk, dry milk, or eggs, or for example, getting a clinic established in the village for the sick people. So I saw all this, and my father's life coming to America away from me and my mom and my family, to sacrifice 9 years to leave your wife. That's not easy. Your children. So my father sacrificed all that in order to help the people in the village. Travel the country in this country. And I have his letter. I'm writing his life. His life almost finished. So I saw when I was a little boy, 7, 8 years old, 10 years old, what my dad, and coming to America, I saw my dad, how he preached, or shall I say, how he dealt with people, how he talked to people, cradle and non-cradle. I learned from him the technique. He was my mentor. I learned something, just giving an example. We were in Omaha, Nebraska, and they have an ice cream social. And my father said, why can't we invite the people to come to the church to see the church? Small, humble church, small church. So he did, and I was with him. So he's a man with his wife and 2 children. Came, sat down, so my father began to talk. And the wife said, what is these pictures? You should not worship images. My dad just, I could see his face. So you know what my dad did? And this is a lesson that I learned from him. He said, these are pictures of God's family. Then he stopped. He said, ma'am, do you have a wallet in your purse? Do you have pictures? She took the wallet, her purse, and he looked at the picture and he said, who is that? She said, that's my granddaughter. Who is that? My husband. Who is that? And so as he was talking, he said, you know, these are your pictures. They are not mine. You have spiritual relationship. You know them. I don't know them. But what if I decided to go, he had a piece of paper next to him, rip it or spit up on it? You will go wild. You will be upset. You will fight. I said, these are the pictures of the family of God, pictures of the people who are called saints of God, belong to everybody. This belongs to you and your family. So he said, close your eyes and go to look to the walls of your home. And what you're going to see adorns the walls of your house. Your grandmother, your grandfather, your baby, your loved ones. Sometimes you show and tell and kiss. So what is the difference between kissing this picture or kissing that one? So these are the invisible family of the Bible. This is yours. So we have the invisible word of the Bible in colors, and the Bible in colors being transformed into the Word of God. So, as a result of this, I learned a lesson from my dad about iconography, how to react to people who accuse us we are worshiping icons. So, no doubt in your life, you have learned a lot from your parents, other people, from books and other characters in your life, and you try to share and try to help. And so that's just an example.
Beautiful example. And I think that's a great explanation of the difference between veneration and worship, right? We don't worship icons, we venerate them.
We venerate them. And that's why I say we kiss them, we dust them,
kiss them.
We respect them. And if there is a fire takes place, everything is left except the picture. Everybody run after the pictures. And you see the fires in California, last year before, how people were really moved to find the picture of their loved ones. They shed tears to go and protect them. They risk their life to collect them. So that's what reality is. So I am very happy.
There's 2 more questions I'd like to ask you, if you wouldn't mind.
Okay.
I'll keep them short. So the first one would be, we talked about the dispersion of the church and the hope for unification amongst Christians. I think many non-denominational or Protestant Christians, they don't always see the spirit and benefit in the Holy Orthodox Church or of the traditions within it. What would you have to say in regards to the heart and the benefit of the tradition that the Orthodox Church carries? Why should people who have not stepped foot in it consider coming and seeing what it's all about?
Well, let me say this. Coming to the church is first of all, is a personal experience. Coming to the church is a desire of a person who wants to enter the church. But to get to know the church, you got to understand that the church is a product of traditions. Old Testament, New Testament. The Bible, the word you hold, the Bible, come from holy traditions. You cannot separate traditions. In fact, every one of us has certain traditions or certain customs, capital T and small t. And so people who comes as a visitor or inquirer, or they see everything strange. It's too heavy, too complicated. Never heard of such thing like that. Yes, I agree. But it takes time to know someone. It takes time to finish a book from cover to cover. It takes time to build a house. It takes time to raise a family. So it is not a magical thing to enter the church and become Orthodox. So Orthodox is not a word. It's a life living experience. So
beautiful answer.
So it's a life living experience. So you only can, let me say this, you only can walk in the light you hold. If the light you hold, this is what you see. But somebody try to see what's on the other side. You got to make an effort. Either move it or you move it and look at it. So we walk in the light we hold. That's all we know. Sometimes things happen, say, I really don't know about it. If I knew, I wouldn't have done that. So we think we want to know it all. We cannot know it all. We will never know it all, even a drop in a bucket. So just don't be hard on yourself. Let the Holy Spirit moves you. Study, enjoy being with the Lord. Transforming the word into action. That's it. Faith and work.
Beautiful. Thank you for that
Sacrifice.
answer.
All right.
Yes. And then the last question is one that I try to ask on every one of these podcasts. I try to always end it on a positive note and ask, I mean, you come from a place full of miracles. The first thing we mentioned on this podcast was the miracle of raising Lazarus from the dead. And I love to ask my guests on this podcast, would you give me an example of something that you've experienced in your life that you would consider a miracle?
Yes, many. But we don't boast as Orthodox Christians. It's just the idea of you are sitting there and I'm here talking. That's a miracle in itself. I don't know you from Adam. Neither you know me from Adam.
Yes, sir.
But something happened that we are talking. That's a miracle in itself. But I can share with you some more in real also miracles. So maybe some other time I can do that.
Yes, we'll save that for
But the
part 2.
idea is that we talk together this for a couple hours now. It's a miracle in itself. Our breathing, able to see, able to talk, able to laugh, to hear a voice. That's a miracle. We take it for granted.
Yes, sir.
We should not. We should not. We should be thankful to God for his bounties, for his graces. May God bless you and be with you, and may his face shine upon you and upon your ministry and all your people who are working together for the glory of God. Amen.
Thank you, Father. Amen.
Thank you so much, Marcus.
This has been an honor and a privilege, and I look forward to doing it again soon.
Thank you so much.
This has been Christian Voices from the Middle East, a podcast ministry of the Order of St. George the Great Martyr. I've been your host, Maxwell Marcus, and we thank you all for being here with us today. God bless you all.
God bless.